Welcome to week number 8 of my Survivor review, mate. Oh, that was horrible. So last week I asked you guys, do you prefer longer episodes or do you prefer shorter episodes? And the overwhelming majority of you said that you prefer longer episodes. I had only one person that said that they don't like long episodes. I think her exact words were, I personally get bored with long-winded videos. But then she went on to clarify and say, I've seen most of the vlogs, and yours are by far the best I've seen. Not dissing anyone, but you have strong camera presence. Yes. Yes, I do. And while we're on the topic of survivors that tweeted me last week, Troyzan said, oh man, I had no idea your reviews were that freaking funny.
The J voice?
Good God. Dude, hilarious. I'm now a fan.
What J voice?
Troyzan, you're a fan? Well, that's a two-way street. Now, getting back to Cha-Cha, not only was she tweeting, but she came over to my YouTube page and had this to say. Boom! Christina Cha endorsements! You're welcome. Smiley face. Boom. So that just goes to show you that both Troyzan and Christina are super cool people, and you should follow them on Twitter, on Facebook, on Tout. I don't know if Troyzan's on Tout, I know Christina is, but follow them on their social networks. Don't follow them home from the mall, that's creepy. Just follow them, where it's acceptable. And check out their YouTube pages. I will have a link in the description down below so you can check that out. Whew! Now that we got that out of the way, let's get on to the show. So just before the show started tonight, I tweeted, the Kim train runs over Michael tonight? ? Hashtag pulled from my ass. We'll see if you're right, smarty pants. Now for the record, I don't do spoilers, because I like the mental stimulation of trying to guess what's going to happen. But we'll see if I'm right. So the show starts out with a recap, not of last week's episode, but of the season in general. And what they're trying to get across is that this is men versus women, just as it started out. So a little foreshadowing there.
Up next we have Jay and Troyzan going to pick up the tree mail. And as they're walking, Jay is expressing his concerns of the women taking over this game. So he wants to vote out one of the girls at the next tribal council. Now personally I prefer a higher female to male ratio, but whatever does it for you, Jay. So when they pick up the tree mail, it's a message in a bottle, a 7-Up bottle, a very retro-looking 7-Up bottle.
So then it's off to the 7-Up sponsored reward challenge. Now last week we celebrated Hump Week with a ball challenge. This week, since Survivor's an equal opportunity game, we have a box challenge. So at the start of the challenge, they get all the survivors wet on this cool water slide. Then they have to run out into the ocean and grab their box, bring their box back on shore, and arrange their boxes to solve a puzzle. And do you want to know what they were playing for? A steak, hamburger, hot dog, 7-Up feast, which looked like a lot of food for me, and I'm not starving on an island somewhere. So this is a team challenge, and they had to split up into 2 teams. Unfortunately, there are 11 people left, so that's an odd number, so one person had to sit it out. And since no one wanted Tarzan touching their box, he had to sit this one out. So
Jay
starts for one team, and Mike starts for the other team. Then Troyzan joins
Jay,
and Kim joins Mike, and Mike helps Kim with her box. So as you see here, Kat joins Troyzan and
Jay,
and they have a devil's three-way with Kat's box. And you can also see here that Mike and Kim are handling Sabrina's box. Now, when Alicia saw this giant water slide for the first time, she said it looks like it's going to be a big wedgie. Now, I would imagine any wedgie for Alicia would be a big one. But not only does she get a big wedgie going down the slide, but she gets a sand enema when she gets off of it. And I bet that's about as comfortable as it sounds. So then we're at the point in the challenge where all the survivors are down and they're grabbing the last box and bringing it back to shore. And as you can see, Christina, not too fond of touching other people's boxes. But apparently she can tell you where you can put your box in order to get a free meal, because she leads her team to victory. Now let's not give all the credit to Christina, because she did have a little help from Leaf. Which stands to reason because Leaf sleeps in a box, and he's about box high. So the team of Christina, Sabrina, Kim, Leaf, and Mike win the challenge, and women around the world take note that Leaf and Mike are good with boxes. So the losers go back to camp, and the winners go off to the 7-Up Oasis for their feast. So they fill up their shrunken little bellies, Christina finally gets some airtime, and Kim is strategizing. She pulls over Sabrina, who by the way is wearing her hair down, and that's a really good look for Sabrina, because normally I'm like, oh, there's Sabrina. But when she has her hair down, I'm like, whoa, there's Sabrina. Anyway, they reveal their long-term plan, and they decide that they want Kim, Sabrina, and Chelsea as the final 3. And they set their targets on Mike for the next tribal council. So then it's time to visit the losers back at camp. You can keep your hot dogs, your hamburgers, and your steak, and your 7-Up. Troyzan doesn't need that. All he needs is some wood, and he'll eat it. I'm serious. Apparently bamboo is his preference. Now I would think that bamboo doesn't go down so easily. So fortunately for Troyzan, the winning team comes back with a bunch of 7-Ups that even the losers can enjoy. So a storm starts to roll on in, and it does some damage to the shelter. And not to be outdone, Troyzan starts attacking the shelter too. He starts taking pieces of a wall off and using it for firewood. And this gets on Chelsea's last nerve, so she and Troyzan get into it a little bit. And Troyzan looks Chelsea straight in the eye, and he says, remember last week when I said it was dirt? Well, I lied. It was poop. Well, he didn't really say that, but it would have been funny if he did. What Troyzan does say, not to Chelsea's face, but to the camera, is that Chelsea is subliminally harassing him. So in other words, it's all in his head. Now Troyzan might be a lot of things, but he's not a man that will take subliminal harassment lying down. So he pulls Chelsea to the side, and his rationale is that she has something against him because she had a boob job and she wasn't happy with her plastic surgeon. So she's taking it out on Troyzan, who is a plastic surgeon. Troyzan, do you need glasses or something? Her plastic surgeon should win an award. And since we're giving out awards, why not give her parents an award too? So up next, it's almost time to go to the immunity challenge. But first, Kim plants a seed in Troyzan's head that Mike is out to get him. And then it's time for the immunity challenge. Now this is a 2-stage challenge. The first stage you see here. You have to feed your puzzle pieces along this rope and get it to the end. And the first 4 survivors who get to the end get to go to the second part of the challenge, which is a puzzle. Now this was just a regular puzzle, not to be confused
with the bum puzzle. Because Jay solves the puzzle and wins immunity? So everybody goes back to camp and Jay is nervous. He thinks the girls are going to take over this game and vote out all the guys, which might not be too far from the truth.
Now last week I ran out of time, but I really wanted to talk about Kim. She's a huge fan of this show, and she might be the best strategist this season. Some women play this game like Parvati, using their sex appeal. Other women play this game like Suri, using their mind. Some women show up to the game, but don't really end up playing it at all. Kim is playing like Suri. She's calm, and she's making all the right moves. And right now, Kim's next move is to get rid of Mike. And apparently Mike, he's a big fan of Blindsides. So he's really gonna love tonight's Tribal Council. So we're off to Tribal Council, and we learn 2 things. Number 1, Jonas' brother is the first jury member. And number 2, no one thinks they're going home. Now before we find out who gets voted out, Kat treats us to some rambling. She says something, 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 Rantix, boom, you got Tarzanized. Rantix, Tarzanized, not really words. But then again, neither is scramblegized, and I coined that one. Anyway, it's time to vote. The game is afoot up Mike's ass.
And as for Jay, if you don't want the girls to take over, then don't vote out Mike. But dang it dang.
So what's my prediction for next week? I think Survivor's going to lose another Y chromosome. So that's it for this week. What you need to do right now is hit the subscribe button right up here, and you need to follow me on Twitter at SurvivorTrev. And as for time, it was shorter than last week's,